Hello all, and welcome to Miss Martin's Classroom. Today's podcast will be featuring a compelling and groundbreaking middle grade novel. This particular book has become even more important in our recent age of the #MeToo as we strive to increase accountability in violence and abuse. As a disclaimer, I want to say that this book contains mature content related to sexual violence. That being said, this mature content is portrayed to realistically illuminate the impact of sexual assault on survivors, and I personally believe that the author did this in a very compelling way. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, 44% of rape victims are under the age of 18, and 46% of those victims are between the ages of 12 and 15, which makes sharing inspirational and gripping novels like this all the more imperative. Melinda's life changed in the blink of an eye. After calling the cops at their end-of-the-year party, she finds herself an outcast, a social pariah. Friends who used to text her now actively avoid her in the hallways. None of them know what really happened at that party. And, through Melinda's eyes, no one really seems to care. Spotlight. I find my locker after social studies. The lock sticks a little, but I open it. I dive into the stream of fourth period lunch students and swim down the hall to the cafeteria. I know enough not to bring lunch on the first day of high school. There is no way of telling what the acceptable fashion will be. Brown bags, humble testament to suburbia, or terminal geek gear. Insulated lunch bags, hip way to save the planet, or sign of an over-involved mother. Buying is the only solution, and it gives me time to scan the cafeteria for a friendly face or an inconspicuous corner. The hot lunch is turkey with reconstituted dried mashed potatoes and gravy, a damp green vegetable, and a cookie. I'm not sure how to order anything else, so I just slide my tray along and let the lunch drones fill it. This 8-foot senior in front of me somehow gets 3 cheeseburgers, french fries, and 2 ho-hos without saying a single word. Some sort of Morse code with his eyes, maybe. Must study this case further. I follow the basketball pool into the cafeteria. I see a few friends, people I used to think were my friends, but they look away. Think fast, think fast. There's that new girl, Heather, reading by the window. I could sit across from her. Or I could crawl behind a trash can. Or maybe I could just dump my lunch straight into the trash and keep moving right on out the door. The basketball pole waves to a table of friends. Of course, the basketball team. They all swear at him. A bizarre greeting practiced by athletic boys with zits. He smiles and throws a ho-ho. I try to scoot around him. Thwop! A lump of potatoes and gravy hits me square in the center of my chest. All conversation stops as the entire lunchroom gawks, my face burning into their retinas. I will be forever known as that girl who got nailed by potatoes the first day. The basketball pool apologizes and says something else, but 400 people explode in laughter and I can't read lips. I ditch my tray and bolt for the door. I motor so fast out of the lunchroom the track coach would draft me for varsity if he was around. But no, Mr. Neck, the cafeteria duty. And Mr. Neck has no use for girls who can run the 100 in under 10 seconds unless they're willing to do it while holding on a football. Mr. Neck. We meet again. Me. What do you listen to? I need to go home and change. Or, did you see what that bozo did? Not a chance. So I kept my mouth shut. Mr. Neck. Where did you think you're going? Me. It's easier not to say anything. Shut your trap, button your lip, can it. All that crap you hear on TV about communication and expressing feelings is a lie. Nobody really wants to hear what you have to say. Mr. Neck makes a note in his book. I knew you were trouble the first time I saw you. I've taught here for 24 years and I can tell what's going on in a kid's head just by looking in their eyes. No more warnings. You just earned a demerit for wandering the halls without a pass. Sanctuary. Art follows lunch, like dream follows nightmare. The classroom is at the far end of the building, and has long south-facing windows. The sun doesn't shine much in Syracuse, so the art room is designed to get every bit of light it can. It is dusty in a clean dirt kind of way. The door is layered with dry splotches of paint, the walls plastered with sketches of tormented teenagers and fat puppies, the shelves crowded with clay pots. A radio plays my favorite station. Mr. Freeman is ugly. Big old grasshopper body like a stilt-walking circus guy. Nose like a credit card sunk between his eyes. But he smiles at us as we file into class. He is hunched over a spinning pot, his hands muddy red. "Welcome to the only class that will teach you how to survive," he says. "Welcome to art." I sit at a table close to his desk. Ivy is in this class. She sits by the door. I keep staring at her, trying to make her look at me. That happens in movies. People can feel it when other people stare at them, and they just have to turn around and say something. Either Ivy has a great force field, or my laser vision isn't very strong. She won't look back at me. I wish I could sit with her. She knows art. Mr. Freeman turns off the wheel and grabs a piece of chalk without washing his hands. S-O-U-L. He writes on the board. The clay streaks the word like a dried blood on the canvas. This is where you can find your soul, if you dare. Where you can touch that part of you that you've never dared look at before. Do not come here and ask me how to show you how to draw a face. Ask me to help you find the wind. I sneak a peek behind me. The eyebrow telegraph is flashing fast. This guy is weird. He must see it. He must know what we are thinking. He keeps on talking. He says we will graduate knowing how to read and write because we'll spend 1,000,000 hours learning how to read and write. I could argue that point. Mr. Freeman. Why not spend that time on art? Painting, sculpting, charcoal, pastel, oils. Are words or numbers more important than images? Who decided this? Does algebra move you to tears? I see hands raising, thinking that he wants answers. Can the plural progressive express the feelings in your heart? If you don't learn art now, you will never learn to breathe. I can assure you there's more. For someone who questions the value of words, Mr. Freeman sure uses a lot of them. I tune out for a while and come back when he holds up a huge globe that is missing half of the northern hemisphere. Could anyone tell me what this is? He asks. A globe? Ventures a voice in the back. Mr. Freeman rolls his eyes. Was it an expensive sculpture that some kid dropped and he had to pay for it out of his own money or they didn't let him graduate? Asks another. Mr. Freeman sighs. No imagination. What are you, 13, 14? You've already let them beat your creativity out of you. This is an old globe I used to let my daughters kick around my studio when it was too wet to play outside. One day Jenny put her foot right through Texas, and the United States crumbled into the sea. And voila! An idea! This broken ball could be used to express such powerful visions. You could paint a picture of it with people fleeing from the hole, with a wet-muzzled dog chewing Alaska. The opportunities are endless. It's almost too much, but you are important enough to give it to. Huh? You will each pick a piece of paper out of the globe. He walks around the room so we can pull red scraps from the center of the earth. On the paper you will find one word, the name of an object. I hope you like it. You will spend the rest of the year learning how to turn that object into a piece of art. You will sculpt it, you will sketch it, paper mache it, carve it. If the computer teacher is talking to me this year, you can use the lab for computer-aided designs. But there's a catch. By the end of the year, you must figure out how to make your object say something, express an emotion, speak to every person who looks at it. Some people groan. My stomach flutters. Can he really let us do this? It sounds like too much fun. He stops at my table. I plunge my hand into the bottom of the globe and fish out my paper. Tree? Tree? It's too easy. I learned how to draw a tree in 2nd grade. I reach in for another piece of paper. Mr. Freeman shakes his head. Oh, he says. You just chose your destiny. You can't change that. He pulls a bucket of clay from under the pottery wheel, breaks off fist-sized balls, and tosses one to each of us. Then he turns up the radio and laughs. Welcome to the journey. Español. My Spanish teacher is going to try to get us through the entire year without speaking English to us. This is both amusing and useful. Makes it much easier to ignore her. She communicates through exaggerated gestures and play acting. It's like taking a class in charades. She says a sentence in Spanish and puts the back of her hand to her forehead. You have a fever, someone from the class calls out. She shakes her head no and repeats the gesture. You feel faint! No. She goes out to the hall, then bursts through the door looking busy and distracted. She turns to us, acts surprised to see us, then does the bit with the back of the hand to the forehead. You're lost! You're hangry! You're in the wrong school! You're in the wrong country! You're in the wrong planet! She tries one more time and smacks herself so hard on the forehead she staggers a bit. Her forehead is as pink as her lipstick. The guesses continue. You can't believe how many kids are in this class! You forgot how to speak Spanish! You have a migraine! You're going to have a migraine if we don't figure it out! In desperation, she writes a sentence in Spanish on the board. Me sorprende que estoy tan cansada hoy. No one knows what it says. We don't understand Spanish, that's why we're here. Finally, some brain gets out the Spanish-English dictionary. We spend the rest of the period trying to translate the sentence. When the bell rings, we have gone as far as to exhaust the day to surprise. Home, work. I make it through the first 2 weeks of school without a nuclear meltdown. Heather from Ohio sits with me at lunch and calls to talk about English homework. She can talk for hours. All I have to do is prop the phone against my ear and, occasionally while I surf the cable. Rachel and every other person I've known for 9 years continue to ignore me. I'm getting bumped a lot in the halls. A few times my books were accidentally ripped from my arms and pitched to the floor. I try not to dwell on it. It has to go away eventually. At first, Mom was pretty good about preparing dinners in the morning and sticking them in the fridge. But I knew it would come to an end. I came home to a note that says, Pizza, 555-4892. Small tip this time. Clipped to the note is a $20 bill. My family has a good system. We communicate with notes on the kitchen counter. I write when I need school supplies or a ride to the mall. They write what time they'll be home from work and if I should thaw anything. What else is there to say? With oblivious parents, the hatred of her former friends, and her only solace in art class, Melinda struggles to survive her freshman year of high school. However, as the ghosts that haunt her thrive in the silence, Melinda soon realizes that the only way to make peace with the past might be through confronting her new reality. When silence fails, only words can save her, in Speak, by Lori Halse Anderson. This is truly a series you can simply sink your teeth into. Don't forget to like and subscribe with that little button below. Also check out my hashtag MSMReadyToRead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ms_martins_class for more new books and fun lessons that are sure to engage you and your kiddos. Thanks for watching!